Welcome to Raving Ryan. I'm your host, Ryan Anastasio. Edible Arrangements is a US-based franchising business that sells fresh fruit arrangements and other fruit gift items. The first store was started here in Connecticut in 1999, and now there are over 1,200 locations across the United States and around the world. Joining me today is the CEO and co-founder of Edible Arrangements, Tariq Farid. Mr. Farid, how are you?
Doing very good, Ryan. Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you came up with the idea of Edible Arrangements and how you started it up?
Well, I started my first business when I was actually 17.
Yeah.
So I got my start young and was in the floral industry.
Yeah.
So I started a small little flower shop in East Haven, Connecticut. And fast forward 1999, I saw the fruit arrangements being done, and having the floral background, we started to experiment and put the fruit bouquets together at our flower shop. And anytime we sent it to a customer, it was a hit. Yeah. And in March 1999, opened a small store on the corner of Main and Hemingway in East Haven, Connecticut, and that started the journey of Edible Arrangements.
Yeah. And when you started it, did you plan on building this huge company, or were you thinking of keeping like a small business, maybe just like one or two locations?
Oh, I was just basically building a single store. And even that was difficult because when I bought the idea to banks, my customers loved what I was doing, and every time a customer saw it, they wanted to know where they can buy it, how soon can you deliver, all those things that a business owner wants to hear. But when I took this idea to banks, most of them told me that it won't work. That they don't have any funding, they don't really believe in it and everything. Yeah. So I kind of put some money together myself to do the first store. Even the second one and the third one, I raised the money and did it all kind of bootstrapped. So it was majority of the people in the beginning told me it won't work.
And can you tell us a little bit more about how you developed the product and like how long it took you?
So in my view, the secret to success is just listening to your customer. So we made a few arrangements. We delivered them out to our customers, our key customers, and then you just listen to the reaction of the customer. So if the customers love something, you just do more of it, and it's not really what you think. You take an idea and then you count on your customers, because they're the ones who are going to buy it. They're the ones who are going to tell 10 people about it. So when they're calling you, or when a recipient received an arrangement, they're calling you to say, hey, can I order one, and how soon can I get it? So it's always been through the customer's eyes and through the customer focus.
Yeah, and can you tell us a little bit about when you decided to expand edible arrangements and when you started to franchise the stores?
Yeah, so we had no intention of franchising. Somebody walked into our store in East Haven, and he was visiting his mom from Boston, and saw the arrangement. It was delivered to his mom, and he walked into our store and he said, hey, I saw this. I'm in Boston. I work for this company. I'm thinking about getting into a business. Could I get a franchise? We hadn't thought about a franchise at that point, and we were just busy taking our little store and just making the product. And it was a very small business. We were just getting it off the ground. As a good business owner and someone who's always looking ahead, I said, hey, I've been thinking of franchising. I'd love to do it. I had heard about franchising, and so we put the paperwork together and we opened our first franchise. And it was more the same thing, that it's more through the experience of someone even franchising started, that they actually saw a great product. They saw the experience that it had, and they saw how people were enjoying it, and he wanted to build one of those in Boston. That's what happened. Next thing you know, somebody saw it in Atlanta. Somebody was visiting Connecticut from Atlanta and said the same thing, walked in and said, hey, I'd like to open one of these in Atlanta, and that was our second franchise.
Yeah, and now that you have all these stores, is it harder to talk to each store owner and make sure everything's running smoothly in each store?
No, we have a large team. We have people on the road. My franchisees are my customers, so you never want to say that it's hard or you don't want to do it. When you're a bigger company, you can afford to do a lot of things that we couldn't do when we were small. I was on the road a lot, but now I have these amazing team members that actually even surprise me, because they do it better than I could even ever do it.
Yeah. And why did you decide to have franchisees instead of corporate locations?
I believe that what made us successful was that there was an owner in the store. Yeah. And we are not a product that you just take off the shelf and you ring it up and off it goes. A lot of times there's neighborhood things that are happening. These customers, you want to get to know the customers. There's a little bit of a uniqueness in each neighborhood on how the arrangements are done, what's the mix of that neighborhood. So we found that having owners in the store was a very successful formula. And the reason it started was because we couldn't get funding anywhere else. So if I went and tried to get funding for what we were doing in the beginning, I wouldn't have gotten it because I couldn't get bank loans or anything. But then when we got franchising, we had even found a better formula that we actually had an owner who invested their money and were very, very passionate. I am a big believer that passion is what makes you successful. So we had these passionate owners that were actually replicating what we did in East Haven or Milford or Waterbury into all these different cities in the U.S. and also in other markets.
Yeah, and I heard that edible. I mean, I know you have 1,200 stores, over 1,200 stores across the globe, and I know you have some internationally. Why did you decide to expand internationally?
Oh, it's an opportunity. When you're in business, wherever the customers call from, you look at it, and if it all makes sense, you grow. And business is all about growing. I mean, I'm a business owner before I am a person that made fruit arrangements. Yeah. So with that, if the opportunity is to take your business to other markets and to grow it, you do that. So we were lucky that we had a lot of partners from all over the world that were coming in and saying, look, we think this will do great in Dubai. So we opened in Dubai.
Yeah. And I heard that Edible Arrangements is planning on opening 100 more international locations over the next 3 years. And where are you planning on opening these stores, and why are you doing this?
We're always looking to grow.
Yeah.
So where these will be, it'll grow within the markets that we're in already, and then also some new markets. So any English speaking is real easy. Any international markets where it's in English spoken, that those are easy markets for us to enter. South Asia is doing amazing. China and that whole southern Asian countries are doing well. So we'll probably have some presence there. But our true growth is still in the U.S. So, we're growing strong in the U.S. and we'll continue to grow strong in the U.S. or North America.
About how many stores are in the U.S. and how many internationally?
It's probably about 1,100 in the U.S. and the rest are outside the country.
Okay. And what do you take into consideration when somebody comes to you and wants to start a franchise?
We do what's called a discovery day. Yeah. We want them to discover us, and we want to discover them. So you want to look at the passion. You want to make sure that people understand that business is not easy. It's very hard. It's a lot of hard work. And other than that, if they have the know-how, if they've run businesses before, if they've worked with brands before, those are just pluses.
Yeah. And where are most of your locations in the U.S.? Is it in Connecticut in the Northeast?
Oh, we're spread out all over the country. I mean, the two coasts would be heavy, but we're spread out on all the states. We haven't made it to Alaska yet, but everywhere else.
And Hawaii?
Hawaii, definitely. Hawaii.
And speaking of the international stores, do you localize each one to fit the country's culture?
A little bit of a localization in each country. We're relaunching our brand in China right now, where we'll do actually a lot of reinvention because China is a very different market. So we'll look at that market. People love all over the world. People love American brands. They like McDonald's the way that McDonald's is and everything, but they'll do a little bit of a uniqueness on it, to match taste. The nice thing about fruit is that it's very universal, so you don't have to do much.
Yeah, and you started out by just doing the fruit arrangements, and now you're starting to get more things like smoothies and other drinks. When did you start to expand beyond the arrangements?
We've always dabbled, and in R&D or kind of looking at customer trends is very important. Even from the beginning, our customers were always talking about, hey, can I get a fruit juice? Or they expected to get other products because we carried fruit, and they had enjoyed the arrangement and everything. So we were focused very much on the arrangement business at that point, the gifting. But now we've added the yogurt, the smoothies, and a lot of these other brands. And I would say the last 3 years have been strong. So going forward, the brand will reinvent where there'll be a storefront where you can walk in and you can buy a smoothie. You can and the type of smoothies you really can't get anywhere because we're now using process. We're actually cutting it in front of you and we're blending it in front of you, where most of other smoothie makers, they're using processed or they're using frozen. It will be a real fresh experience.
Yeah, and your work expands beyond edible arrangements. and you have some other software companies. Can you tell us a little bit more about these businesses and how they came about?
Yeah, so I have a supply chain company called Berry Direct, based out of California. We needed baskets, right?
Yeah.
So a long time ago, and they had to be food safe. You couldn't use the flower baskets because they weren't food safe. So when we went to produce them, I would go to China and meet with vendors on who can produce those for us. And in the process, we just started a small little company called Berry Direct, making those baskets, and now it does everything, and it sells to other industries as well. I'm a big technology geek. I had a technology company even in the floral industry. So started a technology company to do e-commerce and POS systems within edible, and so now we have two of them, Naranja and Netsalis. Netsalis does e-commerce and POS systems, and then Naranja does mostly franchise back office, kind of communications with franchisees, training systems, digital menu systems. So those two, most of these things were born out of need. You needed to do something, but I spun them off as brands. So now these brands are run by different leaders. So each company is independent.
And didn't you create the software for edible arrangements?
That's right.
Yeah. And I want to talk about some questions about having a business in the state of Connecticut. Currently, the state of Connecticut is fiscally unstable. There's an enormous deficit. People are leaving the state, and businesses are continuing to leave the state. Last year, General Electric left the state, and now Aetna is considering leaving the state. Mr. Farid, has the state's business climate and taxes ever affect how edible arrangements operates on a day-to-day basis?
It always affects. I think. We are defined by the environment we're in, and we accordingly invest or think about changing. But I grew up in Connecticut. I love Connecticut, and I'm hoping that this is just that roller coaster ride. I mean, life is a roller coaster ride. You don't abandon things when things are down. You double down and you start thinking about what are you going to do to improve it. So we're trying to figure out what we can do in our part to enhance. We bring a lot of people to Connecticut. I will tell you, I think we may have lost a little focus. Connecticut is strategically placed in an amazing location. It's in the vicinity to one of the major cities in the world that everybody likes going to. We have franchisees that come from all over the world. They love being here because they want to spend the weekend in New York. It's easy to explain to someone, an hour and away from New York and everything. So I think with that, there's a great opportunity for Connecticut, and I hope and get involved, and I hope that we can help and turn this around where maybe by the time you come into having your own business, the story will be very different.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too long ago that Connecticut was the place. It had some of the best businesses and some of the best manufacturing. And I think with the new economy, there's an opportunity for us to do that again.
Yeah, and have you ever considered moving the corporate headquarters out of Connecticut?
Yes.
Okay. And yesterday, Florida Governor Rick Scott visited Connecticut, and he was trying to get businesses to move from Connecticut to Florida. Governor Scott said that businesses should move to Florida because of the low business tax, no individual state income tax, plus the state's ability to work with businesses. Did Governor Scott ever call you and ask you to move to Florida?
A lot of cities call us. I haven't gotten a call from Governor Scott. So a lot of cities will call us and want us to move, and as I just said, that have we considered it? Yes. I mean, when you're a business owner and you have to look out not only for yourself but for your investors, you do that evaluation. You have to do it, and as parents, we look at that all the time to say where are the schools that are better, where is a better community for raised children. But I don't think it's that bad here. That at least for us, that we have to consider a move. Do we consider it? Yes, you have to look at it, and different people will approach you. Many cities approach us, and it doesn't have to be as far as Florida. We have many cities from Boston, New York, and other areas that will approach us. But with that said, I still see more of an opportunity here and more of reasons. And we have roots, and they're very, very deep. We've been here for a very long time. We have a customer base. We have amazing talent here. And you can't just pick everyone up and move. I mean, some companies can. It's all harder for us.
Yeah. And the reason that Aetna is considering moving is because they said that Governor Malloy has not worked too well with them. How is the edible arrangements, how is their relationship with Governor Malloy?
Look, I think from a business point of view, it's been challenging. It's been very challenging, but it's a lot you have to look at things a lot deeper than business, and especially when you live in the community and when you grew up in that community. So from that point, I have nothing but good things to say about Governor Malloy. It's a challenging environment. You've had a couple of major corporations that moved out. I don't think everybody should just start beating the drum. I think all the smart people need to get in a room and figure it out. And I'm hoping to get involved in that part to say, what do we need to do? And I think we have some creative people with some great business knowledge and history. I don't think we focused on it, and I hope everybody starts to focus soon.
Yeah, and aside from edible arrangements, you also have the Tariq Farid Foundation, which is a philanthropic nonprofit organization that provides support for worthy causes. Can you tell us a little bit more about the foundation, the work that you've done?
Yeah. One of the rules that my parents had was that as you become successful, that you don't forget where you come from. And then I'm a believer that you have to take care of your community. The community that takes care of you, you have to in return take care of it. So we've always worked in it, and it's just it's such a blessing that we can do a lot more as our company has grown, and we'll continue to do that. Some of the things that are very important to me is entrepreneurial. I want to give back. I think enhancing or creating an entrepreneurial culture in high schools and colleges will only help the economy and also help individuals. We are 1,200 stores because there's 900 entrepreneurs that decided to build a business out of fruit. So look at the possibilities. So I would like the foundation to focus on that, and then some of the causes that we've been doing related to kind of food and education and healthcare.
Yeah, I want to finish up with some personal questions.
Sure.
You moved here when you were 11 years old from Pakistan. Can you tell us a little bit what it was like to move to the United States when you were 11 years old and some challenges that you had?
Yeah, so for me, it was an amazing experience because my great-grandfather came to the U.S. back at the turn of the century, and he came as a laborer, and he worked in California, and he was recruited out of India to go and work on the railroad tracks. So they would find farmers and they would have them work on the railroad tracks. So for me, when my mother arrived, went from well-to-do family to end up losing everything when the partition in India and Pakistan happened, that when my mother came here, those stories were there of this, this country that my great-grandfather went to, where he had left nothing but great memories of that, the people and the business and the great opportunity that was there. So for me, that arrival was a big deal. I was only 12, but my mother made sure that we were going to work very hard and take advantage of the opportunity here and everything. So for including prepping for that journey and arriving here, it was nothing but good and a nice change.
Yeah, and did you speak English when you moved here?
No, I spoke zero English.
Right. And do you have any hobbies on the side?
I love boating, and then my favorite time these days is spending time with my boys. And just and boys and girls, So a lot of the things we're getting into fishing with my sons and everything, and then of course all the activities my daughters have planned and everything. So to spend as much time with them as possible. I work very hard, so with that, the downtime is to kind of pay attention to their hobbies and spend a lot of time with them.
And what are some of your favorite books?
A lot of John Grisham books.
Okay.
So a lot of legal. And other than that, any kind of a business book. So I'm not picking on books. I'm picky on. I'm sorry. I'm not picky on books. Any books. I think a person should read as much as possible and everything.
Yeah. And I want to finish up with, we asked this question to everybody that I interview. Connecticut is really well known for its pizza restaurants. Do you have a favorite pizza restaurant in the state of Connecticut?
Pepe's, yes.
Nice. And what do you have a favorite pizza there?
I just go for the basic, just the mozzarella. So, do I have any? Well, yeah. So I've enjoyed every one of their pizza.
And Mr. Farid, thank you for coming on. Thank you for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, go to ravingryan.com. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and follow Edible Arrangements on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Reporting for Raving Ryan, I'm Ryan Anastasio.